this is more than just poor hospital care. God help me. What I've experienced in the past 2 weeks under Bart's Health NHS Trust is abuse, neglect and cover-ups. And I've been speaking out. I'm speaking out now, not just for myself, but for the vulnerable patients who can't. I've been recovering from spinal surgery, completely dependent on nurses. And instead of care, I have faced neglect, isolation, and outright cruelty. I have complained repeatedly to the nurses in charge, to the ward manager, to the site manager, and even the doctors. And every time my concerns were ignored, dismissed, or covered up. And I have watched dementia patients being abused, mocked, mistreated, and neglected because they can't even remember long enough to complain. And when I raised these concerns, I was met with excuses and lies. When I directly accused staff of mistreating me, I was met with more lies, gaslighting, and then just silence. The neglect I faced has included nurses moving my call bell out of reach, so so I couldn't ask for help. Deliberately delaying my medication. Liquid morphine, which is supposed to be for my pain relief. Refusing to help me to the toilet while I was immobile after surgery. Forcing me to use a Zimmer frame before I had even learned how to stand again. Leading to a fall where I was left on my back. I fell on my back and I was crying for hours in pain. Lying to cover for each other, when confronted with the ward manager, defending their actions instead of holding them accountable. The nurse in charge had the audacity to say to me that they barely get complaints. And I told her that's because most of your patients have dementia. They can't remember long enough to even report you. It took me screaming my complaints out loud to the ward, to even be acknowledged, because talking privately to the managers, to the nurses, and they did nothing. They promised investigations, they promised follow-ups, they promised calls and emails. None of it has happened, none of it. I was ignored because this hospital operates on a culture of silence, of protection, not patient care. And I don't know if I need to sue or expose them fully yet, but I know this. I will not be silent. I have recorded proof where I can. I have documented everything. And when I'm finally out of this hospital, I will tell my story step by step.